CredSSP Authentication, Credential Delegation, and Double Hop Authentication. In PowerShell remoting, you'll often encounter scenarios where you need to access resources that are beyond the first remote machine. This is where CredSSP authentication becomes essential. Let's explore how it solves a critical challenge in remote administration. When you connect to a remote machine using PowerShell remoting, your credentials work perfectly on that first remote machine. However, they cannot be passed to a second machine by default. This is a security measure designed to prevent credential theft. If an attacker compromises the first remote server, they wouldn't automatically gain access to your credentials for other systems. While this protects your credentials, it creates a challenge when you legitimately need to access resources on additional servers. Let's visualize this problem. You start from your computer and connect to server A. This connection works successfully because you're authenticating directly. But when server A tries to access server B on your behalf, the authentication fails. Server A doesn't have your credentials to pass along. This is the double hop problem. The first hop works, but the second hop fails because your credentials don't travel beyond the initial connection. CredSSP stands for Credential Security Support Provider. It's an authentication protocol that enables credential delegation from your machine to a remote server. This allows that server to authenticate to other resources on your behalf. Essentially, CredSSP solves the double hop problem by securely passing your credentials through multiple network hops. When you use CredSSP, the remote server can act with your identity to access additional resources. To use CredSSP, you need to enable it on both the client and server. On your client machine, use the Enable-WSManCredSSP CMDLet with the role parameter set to client. The delegate computer parameter specifies which server can receive your delegated credentials. In this example, we're allowing credential delegation to server 01. This configuration tells your machine that it's safe to send your credentials to this specific server. On the server side, you also need to enable CredSSP. Use the same Enable-WSManCredSSP CMDLet, but this time set the role parameter to server. This configures the server to accept delegated credentials from client machines. Once both sides are configured, the server can receive and use your credentials to authenticate to additional resources. Now you can use CredSSP in your remote sessions. When calling Invoke-Command, specify the authentication parameter as CredSSP. In this example, we're connecting to server 01 and attempting to read a file from server 02. Because we're using CredSSP authentication, server 01 receives our delegated credentials and can successfully authenticate to server 02. The double hop now works because our credentials travel through both connections. While CredSSP solves the double hop problem, it comes with important security considerations. Your credentials are sent to the remote server in plaintext form, making them vulnerable if the server is compromised. Therefore, only delegate credentials to trusted servers in secure environments. When you're finished with tasks requiring CredSSP, disable it to minimize your security risk. Use CredSSP judiciously and only when the double hop problem genuinely requires it.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.